Hello beautiful soul, and welcome back to my channel. If you haven't seen the part 1 of my life update, go ahead and watch that one first, because if not, this next statement is going to be a little shocking, but maybe you just want to jump to the conclusion. Let's talk about me finding out that I was pregnant. This story starts out in Coronado in Costa Rica, where I was living at the time. And I just started to notice that something was going on inside of my body. I felt that something was just changing. Something felt like it wasn't right. So I made an appointment with a gynecologist there. And I was just gonna see okay, what's going on inside. And I get there and she is asking me all these questions, and she says that she's gonna do an ultrasound and do a pap smear. So she starts doing that, and then she shows me this thing where it's literally my uterus was opening or something. I don't know what the technical terms are for this, but she shows me and she says, "Do you see this here? You are either going to start your period right now, or you're pregnant." And I was like, oh my God. I was like, well, I can't be pregnant. I can't, which was obvious. It was very likely that I was pregnant. Yeah. I don't know whether I can tell the story about me getting pregnant, which is also crazy, trippy story that maybe will be shared on my channel at some point. But I kind of knew, I kind of knew energetically the exchange that happened. I was still in denial. So she tells me okay, you're going to go and do some blood work, and we're going to just search and see what's going on. I go and do the blood work, because in Costa Rica, you don't just do it at the hospital. You go to a lab, and they did all these different tests for everything to find out if it was an STD, or to find out if it's something, just all kinds of tests that they run. And one of the tests is to check if you're pregnant, and they do it through your blood because I guess it's faster. Because I just given blood, me and Sway were okay, we want to go and get some food. And then we're sat at the table, and I'm looking at the menu, trying to think of what to order, and he's on his phone, and I know that the lab has is going to send something, obviously, because she just told me, and he's just looking at his phone, just looking at it, and looking at me, and not really saying anything. And I'm like, what is going on? Because they did a lot of tests. So I'm like, what are you looking at? He just gets his phone and he puts it on the table and turns it towards me. And I look at it, and it's it's in Spanish. So se habla español, pero no sé, un poco palabras mi no conoce. I'm like, what does that say? Because it says embraza. I think it said embraza and positive. And I was like, what does that say? Because I was pretty sure I knew what that meant, but just to be sure. And he's like, I think it says you're pregnant. I'm like this. And he's looking at me, and he's kind of waiting, and I'm like, oh my God. And I'm sitting there shocked, and I'm looking at him, and I'm like, well, come and hug me. So he comes over and he hugs me, and instantly I just start crying my eyes out. And I say to him, I'm like, I don't know if these are happy tears or if I'm or sad. It's a lot to take in as a person. I knew I was pregnant within the first week or so. I knew something was up. Well, I didn't know I was for sure. I wasn't oh, I'm pregnant. I just knew something was going on and shifting in my body. I called my best friend, Heather. I'm she's the one person that I need to talk to. And she was really amazing. She just said to me, look, I want you to just say everything you're scared about, anything negative, get it all out now. And we're just going to transmute it together. And so I did. I was crying, and it was super emotional. It was really healing. And then she just helped me reaffirm that this is what I want to be doing. This is what I'm made for. And we need light workers to be making these epic babies, because that's how we're going to create a new earth. Also, it's a little different for guys, they just take on the new commitment. They don't have to do the physical act of being pregnant and birthing a child. Then I call my brother, because I'm trying to figure out do I tell my parents right away? What do I do? And I wasn't really expecting this, but I was like, I have to tell you something. He's like, what's up? And I'm like, I'm pregnant. I thought he was going to be like, oh my God, or just like, wow, like, you know, just say something. But no, he just like had the sweetest reaction. He was like, I'm going to be an uncle. Like, oh my God. Like, and he was so emotional and so excited. And I was just like, wow, okay, maybe it's a little different. Like maybe, you know, 27 years old is a decent time to be having a baby. And it's really not shocking for people to find this out. I asked him, I'm like, should I tell mom and dad now, or should I wait to tell them in, I think it was like 3 or 4 weeks when I was going there. He was like, well, I want to hug you right now. And so I'm sure they'll want to hug you when they find out. So you should wait until you tell them in person. So that was the plan. I fly home. I was so nervous that I was going to be super nauseous when my mom picked me up. In Costa Rica, like the main thing is like coffee. So I brought coffee back for my parents. And to go along with their coffee, I ordered these 2 mugs that said Grandma and Grandpa on them. I got here on a Thursday and like I couldn't get my parents together and I wanted to do it at the same time. My dad was either working or my mom was doing something or whatever. So I didn't even get to do it until the next night. So like Friday night, I go over to their house and no one's home. I thought they were going to be there and they aren't there. So I decide it's a good idea to like take a hot bath, and like you're not really supposed to take hot baths while you're pregnant. Not sure why. I take this ridiculously hot bath and I get out of the bath and then they're like there. And I'm laying on their bed with my face all red because I'm like, I took too hot of a bath. I don't know what I was thinking. I was like all out of it. And I was like, but I want to give you guys your presents. And my mom's like, oh my God, you're so excited to give us these presents, like laughing at me for like wanting to give them these presents. Like, so I hand them both the boxes and my mom opens hers right away and she just sat there looking at it, looking at my dad, looking at it, and just kind of waiting for him to realize. And my dad opens it and my dad goes,
but why does it say grandpa?
Because you're going to be a grandpa. He's still kind of looking at me blankly and I was like, I'm pregnant. And he goes, oh, and realizes, and then it's like this whole thing. They were both kind of trying to process the information. Now, I had planned for them to be angry. I had planned for them to be excited. I had planned for them to ask questions. I didn't expect for them to be like in shock. Like I didn't know how to handle that. And so I just started talking and like nervously speaking and like, you know, telling them how I was like, you know, I think that this is a good thing. And like, I know that like, you know, cause they're Christian, I think they want things to be done in like a certain order. And I was like, you know, technically I did things in the right order, got married, you know, and then now I'm getting a baby, but it's just not with the same person. So, you know, making a joke out of it, as always, you know, they were just really good sports and like more and more just accepting it and being excited. And now they're totally excited, totally on board, and have just been blessing me so much, helping me. And this has really brought me and my mom, really close together. So that was really special. And I was really private about it still because I was so early on and just like really emotional about the whole thing. Like we really don't take into consideration how hormonal the whole process is of becoming pregnant. And I talked to some of my friends that were really supportive. One of my friends, Devana, told me something that was really amazing. And she was talking about the different archetypes of women and how we mourn the maiden. And the maiden is like before you're the mother, and basically when you're kind of like living this free lifestyle and you have to give up your freedom and you become like this new being that is supposed to be there for its babies, and just the whole shedding process of making your peace with that. And so the first trimester for me was it was not chill. And so that day I told them everything. The next day, I'm not exaggerating when I say I threw up 20 times in one day. 20. And each trimester has been such like an evolution of growth, of understanding. So I was basically here in California for the first trimester, and then I went back to Costa Rica for the second trimester. And I went home to Costa Rica around 16 weeks, and I went back to a brand new house that Sway bought for us, which he really stepped up and just got it all together and got that for us. And it's so cool. And if you want to tune in to hear about the house, that's going to be my part 3 of my life updates. But yeah, I would love to answer questions about this process. If any of you are going through the same thing, really enjoying being back here with you guys. And thank you so much for tuning into my story, this evolution, this epic life transformation. Yeah, I'm so happy to like be bringing you guys along with me, because there was a point for a long time where I was not able to come back on YouTube because I went through a lot since 2017 up until 2020. Like, I was just totally shedding so many layers and stepping into the true version of who I am, and outside of all these different things that I once identified in, and just honoring where I was really supposed to be. And yeah, I feel so lucky to have gone through such a beautiful transformation and be able to create life, because a lot of people don't even get to do that. So I love you guys. Thank you. Stay weird.